friend Sharon. Today I'm going to show you some tricks that I came up with to use all those scraps of designer series paper that we kind of hoard. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If I could ever help you with any of your Stampin' Up! Supply needs, let me know. If you've not already subscribed to my channel, you can do so below. After you subscribe, you can hit the notification bell. Let me show you what my idea is. Designer series papers. We keep every bit of it, don't we? If you're like me and don't throw anything away, then I hope that today's video will help you, because what I want you to do is I want you to go through your bits of papers that all coordinate. And you know, the beauty of Stampin' Up! Papers is that they all coordinate. And I want you to decide which patterns you like, and then I want you to try to make this card. Now, we're going to go ahead and make the card together. And then by the end, I think this will all come together for you better. But just keep in mind, I went through and pulled out bits of designer series papers. So I'm going to show you the card, okay? It's got a little belly band. And it opens like this. How pretty, right? All those coordinating pieces of paper. See, I've got the paper on the belly band. Works so beautifully together. And this is an easy fold. I am using Good Morning Magnolia and the coordinating framelits, or the coordinating dies. You will need a piece of 12 by 12 paper. Now, Stampin' Up! Carries packs of all of the families, and the Whisper White is, I believe, is available separately, but it's also part of the Neutrals pack, which the Neutrals pack gives you a couple of sheets of each of those colors. So the first thing we're going to do, I have cut my paper at 5.5, and then again, this measures 12 inches. I'm going to put it in my paper trimmer, and the first score I'm going to do is at 4 1/4. If you don't have a paper trimmer, you could use, or if you don't have this paper trimmer, you could use any paper trimmer. If you don't have a scoring blade, you can just simply use a bone folder, okay? All right, then I want to score at 7 1/4. And then at 10 1/4. Then I'm going to fan fold my paper, kind of do mountains and valleys is what I call it. So here's our fold, pretty easy, all right? Now, you will need a ruler, and you will decide what size pieces of designer series paper you need. To make it map perfectly, you need 5 1/4 by something, all right? So this piece right here, let's just start where we were. This is 4 1/4, so we need 4 by 5 1/4. Here, this measures 3 inches, so we need 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. And then I liked putting it on both of these panels. These both measure 3 inches, so I need 2 pieces at 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. This little piece right here measures 1 3/4. So I need 1 1/2 by 5 1/4, and I want 2 of them because I want one on the back and one on the front. For the sake of the video, I went ahead and already cut mine, and we're going to attach it. The best way to attach it is to make sure it's flat. I really struggled yesterday when I was putting that front flap on, and I think because it's so thin, whoops, I did that backwards. Hang on, we're going to put this here. But again, keep it all flat. Eyeball it in between the edge and the score line, okay? And then on the front, I wanted the lighter color. So we're going to put the adhesive on the back. I hope I didn't lose you by messing up like that. All right, so let me just go back. So this is what we did, and then there's our back flap, okay? So now we're going to fill in these 3 panels, and we're going to decide which papers do we want. I want this one here, this one here, this one here. All right, and then I'll show you how I did my visual. Nope, I want my darker one here. Let me show you. So what I'm doing is I'm tying flowers and then the straps, all the colors coordinate, but I just wanted this pattern in my head. So we're going to add these. Okay, and then I'm going to add this pattern, and I want this side faced up. I love this fold. And I was trying to think, have I ever done this one before? I don't think so. But the fact that Stampin' Up's Designer Series papers coordinate so well together, this was perfect to use. All right, let's do our stamping. So I want to teach you a little trick. As I'm preparing for videos, these are the cling mount stamps. I don't like to mount them to the blocks just yet because they are sticky, and especially this little skinny one is a little bit harder to get off. So I like to leave them ready for me to use. And then I mount them. I'm using Memento ink. Let me bring in my belly band because this is what we're stamping. And I want to stamp the flower. And then I will cut it out. I've already done that for the sake of the video. And I have used the rectangle framelits for my sentiment. And this is the smallest one, so let's see if I can do it without getting my head in the camera. How'd I do? It's always my struggle. There you go. All right. So the next bit of stamping we're gonna do is gonna be on the inside right here. Before we do our stamping, I want to show you. So when my flap closes, I didn't want the sentiment to be shown. Okay, so I measured. Remember, this was 3 inches. So I did my Mossy Meadow mat was 2.5 because I wanted it to be underneath this fold. And so this is 2.5 by 5.25, and then my Whisper White is 2.25 by 5 inches. This is just a card to send to a friend for really no reason, but they're gonna love it. They're gonna think you worked so hard on this card. And really, you didn't. You used up some scraps of Designer Series paper. Yeah, you. We do want that to dry a bit, so I'm going to go ahead and move over to my other flower that I've already cut out. That's going to go on the front because I know that's good and dry. I am using the Petal Pink Stampin' Blends. So it's a very light color, and I wouldn't want it to get smeared. It just takes a few seconds, but with me just moving so quickly on the video, to save your time, I just decided to give it a break and let it dry just a bit. So I like to just add a bit of color to the flower with my darker shade. Now, I am using Mossy Meadow, and I'll tell you, I didn't need to use both of these because it's pretty dark. If you wanted to try it, you could, but it's pretty dark, so I don't think it needs it. Now we're just going to mount our Whisper White. I did use the thicker Whisper White. I prefer it when I'm using Stampin' Blends because I just think it colors better and I don't ever have to worry about it bleeding through. So we're going to add this to the inside. And there we go. And now we're going to create our belly band. I think the key thing on the belly band, first of all, I measured the Mossy Meadow 2 inches, and I just used the regular 8.5 by 11. I didn't use a piece of my 12 by 12, so it still fits. And so this is 2 inches by 11, and then this was 1.5 inches. I liked seeing more green than what I would normally do. The key to this is to put snail all the way down because otherwise it buckles. Really making sure that's adhered. And you could try to score it, but I tell you what, every time I try to score it, it's too tight. So technically it would be like at 4 1/4 and all of that. But what I prefer to do is I like to just wrap it around, and that way it's not too tight. And then I give it a good crease with my bone folder. And since this is kind of bulky, I do want to add some tear and tape. I'm going to add it to this side and this side. Using my bone folder to really burnish that adhesive into the paper. There we go. Now it slides on and off a lot easier than if I was to try to score it. Next, I'm going to take the beautiful ribbon. This is that petal pink striped organdy ribbon that, I don't know, it just flies off the shelf. It is beautiful ribbon. We've never really had anything like it before. I'm going to tie a bow. You may notice I keep it on the bolts so I don't have much waste. We don't want to waste this gorgeous ribbon. And I'm going to slide it over. Okay. Now I'm going to add these 2 elements with some dimensionals. Just lining that up off to the side. Pretty as a package. So, do you think you could do something like this? Pick a fun fold like this one and use up those bits of scraps because I know you guys have them. We all do. Happy stamping, y'all.